Hello and welcome in. Can you believe we are in the final week of our June Art Challenge already? This week's theme is Fun Flowy Flowers. And we're going to just jump right in with paint. I'm using just these cheap brushes that I got on Amazon a while back. Use what you've got. I decided to go with a size 16, which is way bigger than I've been using lately. Usually I use a 6 or a 2, but I just want this to be really big and flowy and petally. So we're going to jump right in. Let me just show you the colors I'm using. Still using Paul Rubens colors because I have not put my tube paints in the palette yet. All right, I am using Scarlet and Madder Red and some sort of green, probably Hooker's green and tree green. I'll let you know when I get there. And I am starting off with a very diluted mixture of the Scarlet and Madder Red. And I'm just going to start putting some petals in. And thinking of peonies like kind of what we're going for in the end is a circular shape. I'll show you some pictures of my peonies that I took when they were still blooming. Of course, they're long gone now for the season, but this is, again, very diluted. And we're just going to bring our loose petal shapes in here. And they're not all uniform, as you can see. Going for that circular shape. Going to put a few up here. And it's okay if they're varying shades because we're going to use varying shades. And just try to get that general shape of our circle going here. And if you notice in one of the pictures here, you can see the petals are like really pronounced in the front there. So we can bring those in with a darker shade once this is all dry. But also notice there's petals kind of hanging off to the side a little bit. And there's petals hanging down. So let's just kind of bring all those little friends in here to start with. And maybe we'll do a couple over here. And like that. All right. And let's let this first layer dry completely. And now that this is completely dry, I'm going to bring in a little more pigment on my brush, same color combination. And I'm just going to kind of go over the top of some of them and maybe even add some extra ones in here. So let's just do a nice rounded petal like that one that we saw, that one image that I showed you where the petals are nice in the front here, just very pronounced in the front. And kind of think about where your light source might be at this point too. I'm going to imagine mine is coming from the top. So these petals down here are going to be a little bit darker. They'll be in the shadows. Leaving some of the pinks showing, that's great. And I think I'll even make these a little bit darker at some point. We'll see. All right. Maybe add some petal, a darker petal over here. And these are, I say darker. This is going to dry lightly as well. So let's maybe put some darker colors in here as well. Just kind of playing. And let's now let this dry. And now I've got only Madder Red on my brush. And I'm going to really darken up some of the edges here, the bottom where they'll be in the shadows. Make these petals a little more pronounced yet. And color them in down here as well. And as usual, I am not worrying about being realistic here. I'm just kind of dabbing the brush, just letting the brush flow. Peonies are so forgiving because they have that kind of roughly layered look, and so we're just kind of doing that on each layer, just kind of playing here. So if yours looks messy, in my mind, that is great because loose style is all about just embracing the imperfections. You can color them in all the way if you'd like. You can, since these are kind of in the front, I would say, the way I'm looking at it, And I was going to show you this picture that has the yellow showing through here, like the stamen, and just show you that it's like all over the place. Well, that picture was taken like top down, you know, just really straight on from the top. And so we're not going to quite have that perspective. I'm not anyway. You're welcome to do that if you'd like. But we're going to put some just kind of like hiding right in there and poking out. But let's give some of these some good shadows underneath. Shadow on this side, since I said my light's kind of coming up from over here. Let's give some darker shades to these petals over here. And maybe even do a couple petals that are going to be falling off here pretty soon. There's no wrong way to do this. Just keep your brush moving and have fun. And if you're new to watercolor, this is a great flower to practice letting go of control. And we're going to do some darker on the inside as well. And I'm going to do some darker right in here. And then pretty soon we're going to add our yellow. I'm just seeing little spots that I want to do. We can tweak this as much as we want to. I just cleaned my brush off and then dried it on my towel. And I'm just going to soak some of this off because this one got a little too bold for my liking. So just going to kind of blend that in here and soak some of that color and water up. Okay, going to let this completely dry. And now for our yellow, I've just got Indian yellow on here. I don't think I told you I was going to be using that, but I just got Indian yellow. And I'm going to just put some dots here and there. This is definitely one of those trust the process kind of paintings. You know, loose watercolor is more about suggestion than it is about precision. And while that yellow is drying, we're going to come in with our greens. So let's start with tree green. I always want to start lighter with watercolors. I didn't really mention that. We started with our light pink and then added red because you can't really start with this dark red and then add pink. It just doesn't work that way with watercolors. So for our green, we're going to start with our tree green, and got a little bit too much water on there. And I'm just going to put a little green under here. And you know how they have the leaves kind of, the little leaves coming off of here. And then let's also do a nice stem coming down. All right, and while that is still wet, I am going to come in then with Hooker's green. While the green is still wet, everything in the pink is dry, but I'm going to just tap in the darker color and let some of that light green still show through, but add that in there. And I'm tempted to add like peony leaves, but I feel like I'd be forcing it because really they're going to be a little bit lower, and yeah. Now everything is dry here. This might shock you if you've been around here for a while. I'm not going to add any pen detail, but you certainly could. You could outline the whole thing with black or white. If this got too dark and undefined for you, you can add some white highlights or black. And we're leaving it. I am going to do a little bit of splatter because I want to. And so I'm going to take my size 16 brush again, and I'm just going to dip into that mixture of the scarlet and the madder red. And I'm going to put my hand here because I don't really want it too much down below. Don't you love how it gets mostly on my table? And go ahead and sign it. And there you have it, the first of our Fun Flowy Flowers for this week. I hope you have fun with this, and I hope you join me on Thursday for our second Fun Flowy Flower. See you then.